Savage Land Apocalypse, Rogue versus Magneto. Comic recap. I'm sure it ain't what the ancient alien types who built this place called it, but the Savage Land is the name that's stuck, Rogue muses, as she sits by a stream, the landscape behind her revealing the prehistoric nature of this strange land. Since a few weeks ago, it's been my home away from the X-Men. With home, Bane, a relative concept for the kind of place old maps labeled with "Here be dragons." A huge saber-toothed tiger affectionately nuzzles her, letting out a soft "ah-rah-rah-rah." Suddenly, a giant, blue-skinned native appears, a massive snake hissing menacingly beside him. "Good eyes, kitty cat," Rogue remarks. "'Cause the Savage Land is packed full of legendary creatures, extinct beasts from bygone eras and all that." Later, Rogue stretches, bathed in the warm morning sun. Here, angels still spin across the morning sky. Her expression hardens, eyes narrowing. "Zabu!" As she says Zabu's name, a massive pterodactyl swoops down from the sky, talons extended as it lets out a piercing scrow. Rogue's eyes widen in alarm as she shouts, "Run!" Zabu bares his fangs, ready to protect his friend, the prehistoric terror bearing down on them. The massive pterodactyl crashes into the ground with a thunderous THOOM. Rogue is sent sprawling, coughing and gasping for air. "FHN, SBT, cough, Sanuva Rogue, a request." Suddenly, a large, purple-gloved hand reaches down to help her up. The next moment, Magneto is scolding her. "The next time you feel the need to powder your nose, stay closer to camp. And my shields," he adds, observing the carnage around them. "Poor fellas. They just dropped out of the air like they didn't know which way was up no more." Magneto continues, "I read once that birds follow migration paths based on magnetic fields. You think it's the same for them, Magneto? And wouldn't you be able to tell if something went wrong like that?" He sighs, frustrated. "I think that you like Charles Xavier, who taught you're an absolute master of distracting yourself." He pauses, hearing a strange sound. "Pee-wee." Magneto, with a grim expression, examines the fallen pterodactyl. "From what needs to be done? Now." "You dragged me from my sanctuary to follow this cat to his master. By all means, lead us to Khazar, before violence finds me again." Suddenly, a blinding light erupts, accompanied by a deafening CHOOM. Rogue cries out, "HNGH, Magneto." "HNF, it appears we made contact with one of the tribes. Now who's distracted?" Magneto groans, clutching his head in pain. Rogue, concerned, kneels beside him. "Yeah, but that wasn't no kind of spear or arrow." Looking up, Rogue and Magneto see a force of armored figures and tanks advancing through the jungle. One armored figure shouts out in an alien language that looks like Atlantean. "How do you?" Magneto thinks. "Somebody in my head has just enough understanding." Rogue leaps forward, grabbing a massive piece of wreckage. "To know, we best put up or shut up." Magneto uses his powers to hurl it at the enemy, yelling, "Your powers!" I thought the wreckage crashes into a tank with a loud pang. Rogue quips, "Still gone. But you have enough tussles with the Avengers, you learn a thing or two." Magneto grits his teeth. "Wish I'd picked up how to boomerang the dang thing. Now go." As they charge into battle, more figures on hovercrafts swoop in. A hovercraft explodes as Zabu leaps onto it, claws extended. The pilot goes flying, screaming, as the craft is engulfed in flames and shrapnel with a massive MWR. As the battle rages, Rogue asks Magneto, "I hate to ask, Magneto, but might this be one of those situations when you do what has to be done?" Magneto pauses, a grim look on his face, and says only one word, "Yes." He unleashes his powers, levitating a tank and crushing it into a smoldering heap, taking out another group of armored figures in the process. "Right up there, all gun shoot. High five," Rogue exclaims. Magneto retorts, "That wasn't me, Rogue." Zabu, nuzzling Magneto's hand, adds with a soft rumble, "We have allies. MNRRRR." Suddenly, they are confronted by a tribe of savage land natives. The leader, a fierce-looking woman with a spear, declares, "I do not know you, strangers, but you are friend to Zabu. That makes you friends to Khazar, and that is good enough for the Fall people." Magneto, Rogue, and the Fall people are then approached by the Salander tribe, led by a tall, ethereal figure. Salander has long respected the ways of the other tribes. "We do not interfere or judge, but we are privy to signs that the Fall people are not. Our environment is under assault. The Solander leader points a finger accusingly. All evidence suggests that only Magneto could be responsible. Rogue retorts, I think you're barking up the wrong tree, Beaker. The Fall people have long been grateful to Solander and its innovations. Magneto interjects, his eyes blazing with anger. But if you respect our primitive ways from your far-off city of glass, then you know your soldiers are trespassing. Our mission is to ensure this land's survival can know no boundaries, nor can our actions be dictated by outlanders. The Solander leader raises his voice. Soldiers of Solander, take Magneto prisoner. Pacify all who stand in your way, permanently. As the Solander leader speaks, his words resonating like thunder, his soldiers advance on Magneto, ready to subdue him with brutal force. Magneto unleashes a devastating electromagnetic pulse, ripping apart the Solander soldiers' tanks and hovercrafts with a deafening crumpling. Rogue, standing defiantly beside Magneto, declares, Now y'all heard the lady. You're trespassing. The Solander leader, witnessing the utter destruction, says calmly, Very well. The Fall people are victorious. The Silandans retreat. With a final surge of energy, the Solander leader teleports away, leaving behind a stunned silence. In a high-tech chamber surrounded by strange beings, Brainchild sneers at a tablet, muttering, Serves them right, the pretentious bastards. They think they're smarter than me. Zaladane, adorned in black, holds a dagger aloft. Their weapons are never used. Their warriors poorly trained. I doubt they'll have more appetite to fight, Brainchild. There's less resistance with each new day, Zaladane. These towers still resist me, Worm. The mothers of this land, she sighs dramatically. But I have forces as well. Old forces. Forces that let me give that which fills me. With a sinister gleam in her eye, Zaladane plunges the dagger into a glowing rune, triggering a destructive surge of energy. And take that which flows through these towers. The towers that Zaladane speaks of are immediately struck by a violent thunderstorm. Gazing at a distant tower struck by lightning, Rogue remarks, Well, that's ominous as can be. Appropriate too. The Fall people walked their prisoners back to the Mountain of Darkness and sent us on our way with supplies and a blessing. Rogue says that Magneto did good by them. But you wouldn't know it by him, Rogue continues. We followed Zabu's nose for hours, and Mag spent all of it fit to be tied. Didn't say nothing until... Magneto sighs, simply saying the word war. With a haunted expression, Magneto explains, That's what has begun here, Rogue. And once it has begun, it always spreads. Retaliation, enlistment of allies, a scramble to corner assets and territory, escalation when, in revenge, atrocities are committed. And though one side may eventually triumph, the people of the savage land will know what I know. Once a war begins, it never truly ends, Magneto murmurs, lying exhausted by the campfire. Rogue, sitting beside him, reflects, Magneto had been a prisoner in a Nazi camp. He saw countless people burn, saw his family die. It taught him to meet violence with violence, made him an enemy of the X-Men. But he saved me from Carol Danvers, kept me from a half-life that'd be worse than death. And he went along when I asked him to help Zabu find Khazar. With a determined look, Rogue rises, spear in hand. I'm not gonna ask him to fight in any more of my battles. Come on, boy. I'll follow Zabu into the moonless night knowing he can smell what I can't. But after a few hours, the humid even-in air brings in something even I can't miss. Death. Rogue puts on a green mask, trying to filter the stench. So overpowering, I can't breathe or think of nothing but roadkill on a hot August day. She continues. I'm halfway down the slick valley wall when I realize the abattoir I'm walking into ain't a valley at all. It's an ocean. Rogue says, was an ocean. Zabu manages to filter through the sense of 1,000,000 rotten carcasses for his brothers. But it ain't my sense of smell that I need to know we're on the right track. She gags at the awful smell. The ghostly call of the men who'd visited me in that long-ago lighthouse jokes chilled me more than any cold rain ever could, Rogue thinks, as the wind howls around her. They'd have taken me if they coulda. They took Khazar instead. Whatever was left easy to the rest of this land. Their water and choked their prey. A hooded figure pours water over a blonde woman as the men howl. Knowing nothing else, just think their guard has abandoned him, and as a gift of the surface chamber now making him bawl around. Rogue looks at the shark on top of Bones. Chenna, GNKK, SBNN. No, Zabu, there's too many. My run-in with these guys had made of my powers had been punished for my long list of sins. Rogue grabs a tape player. Now I've got to turn it around on the devils. Looking menacingly, the hooded man thinks, make him think in this way, lies perdition. A blonde-haired woman is tied up and in the process of being sacrificed by the hooded men. Above, a ghostly apparition of a shark with jagged teeth circles overhead, ready to consume. Lucky for me, the interface on the cylinder and hologram machines don't play too different from Cerebro, Rogue says, as she's surrounded by monsters. Even luckier, I know how to put on a lil Southern-style Hellfire and Brimstone show. Khazar is restrained by vines, yelling, "Come on, Rogue." As they are in the thick of it, Khazar says, "Keep going. We gotta at least get past the Caucasus." He adds, dazed and alarmed, HNHHNHHW8. I damn near drowned. I just need a moment. This was the Goron, but the ice dams melted. Water flooded out into Marguerite Bay. Something's wrong, very wrong. The savage land is dying. Rogue, Magneto, and Khazar stand tense and alert, wary of the horrors surrounding them. Magneto muses, a fact it seems the vaunted Lord of the Savage Land should already know, and the resulting territorial wars are making it necessary to constantly magnetically refresh my armor. Khazar steps up, brandishing his spear, and urgently says, "Rogue, it's Magneto, down." In a flash, Rogue whips around, spear aimed squarely at Magneto, her face a mask of fierce determination. Khazar, stunned, exclaims, HNF, he's on our side. Magneto, the master of evil mutants, who turned natives into monsters. Are you sure about that? Rogue pauses, her gaze unwavering, and responds with a determined growl, as sure as a Mississippi mule. Khazar scoffs, FNH. Well, now I've bloody seen it all. Then if you'll excuse me, I'm going to hug this tiger. As he goes to hug Zabu, he asks, Khazar, the deep men got you in the wilds. Why? Ancient terraforming machines believed to maintain the environment. Lord Plunder was going there because of the world parents. Magneto interjects, correct. Magneto, I assume you were planning to use them to enslave my land then? No, while tracking Rogue's arrival, I detected electrical surges there. The connection now seems clear. Yes, strange storms according to the eyewitness reports. Red lightning, I saw it last night. I can show you which way. Why miss Rogue? It'd be my honor. Rogue retorts, you've done enough, Magneto. Eric, it would be good. Be called by my name, I think. I'm going with you, Eric. Magneto, looking ahead with determination, says to himself, there's something else I know of war, Rogue. Those who don't fight for their people. Inside the terraforming tower, standing on the rubble of it, Brainchild wonders, incredible, the terraforming tower gutted like a boar. Where did it all go? Zaladane replies, often end up used as weapons against them. All that this place was is now within me, to be used as I see fit, Barbarous. The ritual is set, my acolytes. I will continue on to the next world parent alone. And what of us, great Zaladane? Zaladane then declares that no one can rise to stop her. They will ferment chaos and salt the land, leaving nothing. Over the broken land, on top of a pterodactyl, a figure flies off, followed by many more. And as they fly off, the bodies of the dead rise from the ground. Thanks for tuning in. Stay curious, stay awesome, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more amazing content.